Right, so I'm starting work on these baffle boards. I've just done one of them, so we'll do the other one. One thing I'm going to have to do is find a replacement screw for this, because this one has absolutely had it. They're a left-handed thread on purpose, so when you're tightening up the nut at the back, these don't unscrew. So I'm going to take this out, I'll show you what I mean. I might have some somewhere. So these have like a, where are you? A left-handed wood thread on them, which bites on the Baltic plywood, and then you've got your thread here for your nut that holds your woofer on. So the head on that is pretty mangled. What I might try and do, if I haven't got any, is heat this up and punch it with a Phillips impact driver bit and see if I can just shape that back up again, because otherwise the rest are good, and really I want this in there when I paint the front. But yeah, what I could do is rob one of the standoffs for the crossover board, but they're longer, so I can't really use those. So yeah, anyway, we'll figure that out. So I've got some support on here because this is only 9 or 10 mil thick. So first thing to do is to get this old Velcro off. Interestingly, most of the other LS3 5As I've had and seen, there's a significant amount more staples than there are in this. So yeah, I don't quite get that. And also not much effort was put into spacing these well. I see that on a lot of these speakers. You know, it's not difficult to measure out and, you know, set the staples out, because some people, or I imagine quite a lot of people, listen to these with the covers off. Right, so I'm going to start picking off this Velcro carefully. If you're careful, you can lift the staples with it as well, as they're only probably 6 or 8 mil staples. So if you're careful, you'll get them up. The end ones are the problem, so I might have to, there we go. So yeah, we've got pretty much all of those out. So working our way around. So if you do have to do any levering to get the staples out, do it where the new Velcro is going to go back on. So if you do mark the board, which is pretty easy to do, those marks are going to be covered. So just have a bit of a think about what you're doing. I wonder whether these baffle boards have been worked on before, because there's a chip in the wood there, but it's black, so almost like these have been out, redone and painted before. I might fill that. I don't know whether I will though, because when I sand it, the filler is going to be very evident in this wood grain, and if I soften it out, I'm going to go through the ply and it's going to look different. So yeah, I will probably actually leave that there. We'll see. So the 8 screws that hold these on really should go through the Velcro, so you don't have to disturb the Velcro to get these off again. So that means when you tighten down your screws, you've got to be a little bit careful that you don't twist the Velcro. Right, so that's all our old Velcro off. So now we've got the rest of this double-sided or the sticky back to the felt, which has completely gone hard and brittle. So all I'm going to do with a chisel is take the top of that off. That's about it really, and the next thing is to sand it. Right, there we go. So we've taken out our Velcro, taken off the felt, or the remains of the stickiness of the felt. Don't risk damaging your baffle board for the sake of getting that glue off. Remember, you're going to cover it again. So yeah, this is all good. I'll give it a couple of coats of satin black, and then we're ready to put the new Velcro on bits and pieces. All right, so while we wait for the baffles to dry, let's take a look at the cabinets. These are very nice. I'm not entirely convinced they haven't been sprayed before, because it looks like they've been sanded and the corners where they've been knocked have been softened out. It looks like a spray finish. I might be wrong. But yeah, they're generally pretty good. The backs are a bit knocked and the top is as well, but obviously if I start sanding this to get these scratches out, then we're going to remove the black and hit the just the Baltic birch ply underneath. We can always paint them again, but that's not original. So on the back we've got a few marks and things here. I think I'm going to touch those up with a black ink pen, because this dries same sort of colour, and if you give it a minute then just wipe it across, when that dries you won't see it. So I think we'll just do that here and there. So I'll give these a good polish up afterwards as well. Yeah, good. Binding posts. Get something reasonable in there. Right, so I need to tighten those up, but what I need to do is put a screwdriver through there so they don't spin around. Right, so new binding posts. Because we were missing those. So yeah, all good. Need to wipe my grubby fingerprints off it. So I'm going to do the same with the other one now. Right, so again, while we're waiting for the baffles to dry, let's have a look at the covers. So the cloth on these is perfect. I think this is it Tegan? I think that's what it is. Our Rogers badges are lovely. So we don't have to do anything to the face of these. So obviously I'm using something to protect the front, but what I'm also going to do, whilst this pad will protect any scratches to the badge, I'm just going to put a bit of masking tape over it. Right, so all the work we need to do is on the back, as well as being stapled on. This Velcro, I would imagine, was double-sided, you know, had a sticky back to it, which has failed, and also our cloth here and there is trying to move. So what I want to do is replace this, but also put a lot more staples in it. I think the staple count that's in here is possibly what it should. Again, I'm sure, like the baffles, there's normally more staples than this, but so yeah, I want to carefully get these off without doing any damage to the cloth. So the cloth is glued on there, so getting new the soft loop Velcro on here with a double-sided tape on the back is going to help secure this as well. So I'm going to strip this down, being very careful. So back in a minute. I'd probably suggest any staples that are in there and flat, leave. Here comes the rain, because you don't want to pull up the fabric. So that's pretty good. I had to put one staple in there just because it was a bit loose, so I can go around that with soft Velcro loop again. Interesting that they put the soft part on here and not the baffle. I would have said that would help with edge diffraction on the baffle, but there we go. Right, let's do this. Right, so here we go. So we have the long sides go full length. Like so. Beautiful. We'll staple this at the end so we can do a really nice job with it. It's always raining in Devon, even when the sun's out. Right, so there we go. So what I'm doing, I'm snipping these little corner bits so I can fold this around and stick it on as well. Nice. So like I say, this is sticky back, so whilst we're picking up the cloth, we're also picking up the, I think it's fiberboard, I don't think it's ply, it might be, yeah, it's ply. So yeah, it's reinforcing the whole lot as well, so stabilising the whole thing. So that's looking plush, that's really good, so all good around the edges. So I'm going to staple this now. So let's have a think. I want to get quite a few in here, so go end, make sure that's not going through, no. So I'm using 8mm staples for this. There's a padding round here as well, so we're not going to go through. Right, end, and we'll eyeball the centre, both sides. And then we'll eyeball the centre again. Yeah. Alright, we'll come back to this. And then on the end pieces we'll go end, end, centre, centre, centre. Yeah, that's really good. Make sure we're not coming through. Nope. Copy that on this one. So yeah, much better. And then what we'll do is, let's go do 2 in between. Yeah, perfect. Right, there we go. That ain't going anywhere. Right, I'll get the other one done. Yeah, cool. Right, I think this front baffle is dry enough to work on. So they've had 3 coats of satin black, and yeah, I think they've come up really nicely. So pretty much reverse of the grill really. We're going to go round with the hook, which is the hard part of the Velcro, and yeah, go round, and then what we're going to do is pierce through where our screws are, and on it goes. So yeah, so let's get this cut up to size. So the nice thing about small speakers is they just don't take long to work on. Some of the speakers I've had recently, they just, yeah, they just chew up so much time. It always amuses me when people say, oh, I'm going to get myself a nice winter project, and it's a little 2-way, because they don't take long to do really. Alright, so that's on there nicely. I am a little bit overlapped there. Beautiful. Right, let's do the other side. Yeah, these don't take too long. I mean, so far I spent yesterday afternoon on them, and so far a few hours as well. Yeah, a few hours this morning. So it's nice to have something a bit more straightforward. Lovely. perfect. So now we want to staple these down, and I will probably pay this a little bit more attention, because obviously the back of the cover you're not going to see when it's on, but you are going to see this when it's off. So let's have a look. So let's do our short sides first. Let's do our easy bit. So I'm going to use the stapler as a guide. For the end parts. And then I want to find the centre. Obviously it's where the screw is. There. Yep. Right, that's good. I'm going to staple the rest of these down. See you in a sec. So of course now I've done one side, it's easy to copy with a square. But it's not a easy thing to do. You can see why when you look at most LS3 5As, the stapling is a bit all over the shop. So it's a cosmetic thing. It's certainly not going to hinder your sound. Alright, I think that's pretty good. I don't think that's bad. Right, so one down and one to go, and then we are into putting the drivers back in. Which is pretty cool. Right, in terms of tweeters, I have decided to go with 3 and 5 because they're really virtually identical. One of them is, their trace is, like I say, basically identical. One of them is a dB down or so on the other, but otherwise that's the only difference. So when I do the final measurements, I can correct that if needed. So yeah, and they're also basically the same. So yeah, pretty good really. So this one needs a bit more cleaning up than the other. I've taken the mesh off the others, which is a bit corroded, and also this has got a dent in it, so I need to try and knock that dent out carefully. So that shouldn't be too difficult to do. Get some shape back into it. It's already pushing out. And then yeah, these can be cleaned up and in they go. So there's some marks on this one along the bottom there, and a bit on the side, but remember the felt's going to cover that, so yeah, not particularly worried. And this one is really clean. Right, so this one's good. What I would do, if I can find some, is the back's a bit corroded on these, so let's clean that off. Yep. Okay. There's a lot of glue residue on them as well. I think someone's glued them back in at some point, so I'll leave that to soak for a bit. And then this one hasn't got so much glue residue on it, but I need to try and knock that out. Right, let me have a look. Right, I'm just knocking that with a round back of a screwdriver, and we're almost there. Problem is, when metal bends, it tends to crease, and creases don't really come out, but that's almost perfect. So I'm just going to work on that little bit there. Yeah, you'd never know. You'd never know. That's come out really nicely. So I'll clean this one off as well, and then I will give them a quick dust with some black satin, and yeah, these can go back on. I'm just giving these woofers a clean up before they go in, and if you remember, the one of the tweeters had the lead wires cut, and I suspected it was possibly kids with scissors. And now I'm looking at these woofers, we've got pencil scribbles inside here. I know that because I've got a 9-year-old daughter, and she used to do that when she was younger. Yeah, this is doped as well, so I've got to be very careful cleaning this. So if it won't come off if it won't come off easily, then it's going to have to stay, because I don't want to damage the cone at all. So yeah, let's see. You've got to love kids, apparently. Yeah, it is coming off. I've just got to be careful. You feel the doping underneath starting to tack up again. Alright, that's going to be it, I think. Get the suspension clean as well, and then we'll go over it with some rubber treatment. Yeah, right, we can't clean that any further, otherwise we're going to damage the doping, but that's okay, that's all right. Yeah, otherwise these woofers are very nice. Okay, let's have a look at the other one. Right, let's give that a quick clean. You can see the muck that comes off them. It's just years of just general use, dust and dirt. Yeah, so Falcon have remade these drivers. The B110 and the T27, and is it the 138 or the 139 that they've done as well? I'll be interested to know if they measure the same as the originals, if they really did copy them 100%. Pretty sure they did. So Nice that you can still get them. Right, okay. Right, they're pretty good. Let's get a bit of rubber treatment on there before they go back in. Everyone always asks me what I use. It's just rubber treatment you'd use on your kind of car door rubbers, that sort of thing. There's nothing special about it. It's just something to keep the rubber supple so it doesn't crack, and you need like nothing, hardly anything. What you don't want is your suspension dripping in this stuff. And I mean, the difference it makes, you can just feel it in the rubber already between where you haven't gone over it and where you have. It's just so much better. So yeah, but just small amounts. It does clean it pretty well as well. Yeah, makes it nice and shiny. There we go, that's it. That's all I would do. See, still a bit of muck that comes off, even though we've cleaned them. There isn't a gasket between this and that because we've got the metal edge. It kind of clamps itself tight against the wood anyway. We ain't got any washers, spring washers or anything retaining these, so I'm going to put some on. I'm not too sure if they had them originally, but I think they should do. I've got about 1 billion of them anyway, so it's only going to be a nicer job, isn't it? Okay. Right. Nuts. What did I do with a nut? Right. Not too tight with these. There we go. It's looking better, isn't it? Lovely. Right. So let's move that out of the way. So let's have a look at one of the tweeters. Right. That's going to hold it until it gets clamped down by the crossover. So yeah, that'll do. Right, gasket. Okay, right, let's screw that in. So a couple of these screws end up on show. The top one doesn't because it's covered with the felt, but these two do. So if some of your screws are a bit rough, put it at the top. One of them looks smaller than the others, so right, again, these don't need to be particularly tight, but it's nice if you can straighten up these screws as well. Pretty sure that one of them is purposely smaller. Yeah, possibly so it's more flush underneath the felt. Right. That's that one in there. So just doing the tweeter on this one of the screws is smaller than the other two, so that's the one that goes underneath the felt at the top. So just be a bit mindful of that. Right, so with the felt, I'm going to lay this out first. Try and get it the right way round, that'll help, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's going to be tricky to get this looking really good again. Some of this felt is not great. We do have this new whole complete felt. So I think I might use that, and then the other one I'll make out of the best of what we've got, I think. Yeah, cool. So I'm going to stick this on with double-sided tape, because it would have been held on with something similar to that, so yeah, all good. Right, quite happy with that. So that's one baffle back together. So we need to get our mesh on there. So I've given these a quick dust of satin black. So again with these I will probably stick them on with double-sided tape rather than glue. And then we're there. Right, a bit wobbly cam I'm afraid, so the crossovers are now back in and all soldered up. So yeah, I think we're looking pretty damn good. So it's time to get these in the cabinet, and then you know what? It's time to listen to them. Excellent.